Before we begin, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe. It was a little after 6 o'clock when I walked into our house in Elmhurst. I was exhausted. My phone was dead. Another investor call had ended with nothing. I dropped my laptop bag by the door, expecting to hear the TV running or the sound of a wine glass in the kitchen. Instead, the house was too quiet. Madison was standing in the living room, folding clothes with perfect, stiff precision and placing them into a suitcase like she was packing for a mission. She did not look up even once. Going somewhere, I asked. My voice was calm, but it echoed in the silence. She pulled the zipper closed, smooth and steady, like nothing in her body was shaking. I want to divorce Brandon. I blinked. My brain did not catch up right away. What? Only then did she finally meet my eyes. She was not angry. She was not crying. Her face was empty, like she had already moved on and simply forgot to tell me. Why? I asked, still trying to understand what was happening. You pick now, when everything is falling apart. Madison crossed her arms. Exactly. I need at least one thing in my life that is not falling apart. My heart started pounding harder. So your solution is to pack a bag and leave your husband when he is drowning. I'm not your lifeguard, Brandon, she said in a cold, even tone. You gambled everything on a tech dream and you lost. You're not the man I'm married anymore. That line hit me like a slap. You mean the man who paid off your student loans? I shot back. The man who supported your art studio for 3 years. That man? Her jaw tightened. This is not about the past. It is all about the past, I snapped. You knew this startup would take everything. You were right beside me when I took that risk. She looked away, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. I was with a man who had potential. Now you're just holding on to a dead idea. Those words landed like a punch to the ribs. Have you met someone? I asked. The air suddenly felt thick. Madison froze for half a second. Not long enough to prove anything, but long enough to make my stomach twist. No, she said. I did not believe her. Unbelievable, I muttered, pacing. You wait until my bank account is gasping for air. Until I am one legal notice away from bankruptcy. And then you leave. She did not answer. She just grabbed the suitcase handle and rolled it toward the door. I will not beg, I said. If this is who you are, then go. Madison paused with her hand on the knob. I knew you would not, she said softly. And then she left. No tears. No hug. No goodbye speech. Just the quiet click of the door closing behind her. I stood alone in the middle of the room, surrounded by everything we had built. Everything she walked away from like it was nothing. Like our life was an old lease she was done paying for. That night, the quiet felt like it had teeth. But I did not sit down. I did not scream. I did not collapse. Because something deeper was already forming inside me. This was not just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of something else. The silence in the house did not feel like silence. It felt alive, like a thing that moved slowly through each room, filling every corner Madison used to occupy. It curled on the couch like fog. It settled on the furniture like dust. It made the house feel too big for one person. I did not even turn on the lights. I dropped into the old leather armchair by the fireplace, the one Madison used to complain about because she said it looked too masculine. The room was half lit by the street lamp outside and the faint glow of the microwave clock in the kitchen. I sat there for a long time, still wearing my jacket, staring at nothing. Then I stood up, walked into the kitchen, opened the cabinet above the fridge, and reached for the bottle of Blanton's I had been saving for a big win that never came. The cork popped quietly, but in that empty house, it sounded loud. I did not grab a glass. I took the bottle back to the chair, sat down, and took a slow sip. It burned, but not enough. So I drank again, and again. Somewhere around the fourth pull, the thoughts in my head started forming into something clearer. Memories, shame, anger, and fear were spinning around inside me like dry leaves in wind. The startup used to feel like a rocket waiting to launch. It was all promise and ambition. It was supposed to change everything. But lately, it felt like a dying animal I kept trying to keep alive. Investor calls, sleepless nights, desperate promises. Each week I was trying harder, and each week the company was slipping further away. I grabbed my phone and stared at emails I did not want to read. Declining your proposal. Our fund is pivoting. Final notice. Outstanding balance. Another one, and another. I swiped them away. Not tonight. I leaned back and stared at the ceiling. Maybe she's right, I said out loud. The words tasted like rust. Maybe I'm not the man she married. A floorboard creaked near the hallway. Just the house settling. But in that moment, it felt like the house was answering me. I shook my head, but I'm still standing. I took another drink. I did not even want to be drunk. I just did not want to feel sharp anymore. I reached for my phone again. Her number was still pinned at the top. My thumb hovered there for a long time. It trembled slightly, but I did not call. Instead, I opened my camera roll. I scrolled past pictures of her birthday dinner last month. Our weekend in Lake Geneva 2 summers ago. And then I saw it. A blurry selfie from the hospital hallway when my dad passed. She had her head on my shoulder. I had tears in my eyes. I stared at that photo for a long time. Then I locked the phone and tossed it onto the coffee table. The ticking clock above the mantel filled the room again. Tick, tick, tick. I whispered to myself, I'm not begging Madison. Because that is the line she crossed. She did not just leave. She waited until I was cornered. Low on money, low on energy, low on hope. Then she walked. Not because she had to, because she wanted to. No argument, no explanation, no fight, just clean hands and a suitcase. I closed my eyes and breathed out slowly. It was not even heartbreak that grabbed me hardest. It was the insult, the quiet kind that burrows under your skin and burns slow. I had given her everything I had, not just money, time, attention, patience, the small daily things. Every Sunday coffee run, every late night call from the office, every time I said, I'll be home late again. Do not wait up. And now I was sitting in a house we bought together, drinking whiskey she used to hide from guests, trying not to feel like the world had voted me off my own life. But here is the truth. I was not going to drown. No matter how deep the storm got, no matter how much betrayal and loss piled up, I was not going under. I poured one last shot into a glass this time. I held it up to the streetlight and watched the amber color catch the glow. To the last man standing, I muttered. Then I drank it down. I picked up the remote, turned on the TV, just loud enough to cover the sound of the clock, and stared at the screen without really seeing it. I was not thinking about what I lost. I was thinking about what I still had left to rebuild. It was still raining when I walked into the office on Tuesday morning. The kind of slow rain that does not stop, like the whole city is trapped under a gray blanket. The lobby was quiet. No receptionist. No deliveries. Just the hum of fluorescent lights and a wet paper smell from the old carpet we kept promising to replace. I took the elevator to the 5th floor. Our floor. When the doors opened, the emptiness hit me. The office was half dead now. Half the desks had been shoved to the side. Monitors were unplugged. The intern table was gone. Even the big whiteboard where we used to sketch roadmaps sat blank, with only one smudge left behind like a ghost of ideas. Derek was already there, hunched over a mug of coffee, sleeves rolled up, wearing the same gray hoodie he always wore when things got tight. He did not look up when I walked in. I dropped my bag by my desk, exhaled and walked over. Madison left, I said. Derek slowly lifted his head, squinting like he had not slept. What? She's gone? I nodded. Packed a suitcase. Said she wanted a divorce. Sunday night. For a second, he just stared at me. Then he rubbed the back of his neck and leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. Man, I'm sorry, he said quietly. That is rough. You two were. I thought you were solid. Yeah, I muttered. Me too. Silence sat between us. Then Derek set his mug down and looked me straight in the eye. I've been meaning to talk to you, he said. My stomach tightened right away. He glanced away, then back. I think I'm going to pull out of the company. I stared, sure I misheard him. You or what? I want to cash out my stake, he said. I've been thinking about it for a while. Funding is drying up. Delays are stacking up. I just think it is time. The rain tapped the window behind him like a clock. You're serious? He nodded. I already have a job offer lined up. Product director at a fintech firm. Bigger team. More stable. They move fast. It is a lifeboat, I said, cutting him off. That is what it is. Derek did not deny it. I turned and walked to the window. The city below looked smeared and distant, like a photograph left out in the rain. Look, Brandon, Derek said behind me. I've had your back for a long time. We built this together, but it is not working anymore. You know it. The market shifted. We missed our window. I cannot stay on a sinking ship just because I helped build it. I did not answer. I watched a cab roll through the intersection, its yellow color stretched in puddles like broken crayon. You always said we were partners, I said quietly. Through thick and thin. That is what you told me the day we signed the first lease. I'm in it, Derek said. But this is not personal. I turned around and looked at him. That is the problem, man. It should be. He looked away. I did not yell. I did not argue. What was the point? People leave. Sometimes loud. Sometimes quiet. Sometimes they even call a favor. I will have the paperwork drawn up, Derek said, standing. You will get my shares. I just want out clean. He grabbed his jacket and paused at the door. Take care of yourself, B. Then he walked out. I sat down, leaned back, and stared out the window again. First Madison, now Derek, and me still sitting in a building that was starting to feel just as empty as the rest of my life. It was raining again the morning of the court hearing. The kind of rain that matched the mood perfectly. Gray, wet, heavy, like even the sky could not lift its head. The courthouse was quiet when I walked in. Just the hum of security machines and a few voices echoing off marble walls. I wore the only decent suit I still owned. Charcoal, pressed, but tighter than it used to be. I had lost weight. I did not even notice until I caught my reflection in the security glass. Madison was already inside the courtroom. She looked prepared. Hair tied back. Expensive coat. Her lawyer beside her, flipping through papers like a man who was paid by the hour and never missed a detail. She did not look at me right away. I sat beside my own lawyer, a quiet guy named Clark who talked more with his eyebrow than with his mouth. The judge entered. Case of Harlow versus Harlow. We stood, then sat. Madison's lawyer began smoothly, so calm it almost sounded kind. Your Honor, Mrs. Harlow is entitled to half of all marital assets, including the equity in Mr. Harlow's business, regardless of current performance. The company was built during their marriage. She is not asking for more than her fair share, only what she legally deserves. I did not look at Madison. Not at first. Clark leaned over and whispered, they're going for the kill. I know, I murmured. Let them. Then the judge turned to me. Mr. Harlow, your response. I stood. My voice did not shake. Your Honor, I am not contesting the divorce. I'm not here to drag this out. I am willing to give Madison the house and the car. All I ask is that I keep the company. There was a pause. The judge raised an eyebrow. The valuation submitted shows significant loss. Yes, ma'am, I said. We are down to almost nothing. I know what I'm holding on to, but it is mine to rebuild or bury. I finally turned toward Madison. She stared ahead, unreadable. I just want to keep the thing I poured everything into, I said. If she wants the rest, she can have it. Clark shifted beside me, surprised. Even the judge leaned back slightly like she did not expect that kind of clear sacrifice from someone who looked like he had not slept in weeks. Madison's lawyer cleared his throat. My client will accept the proposal. The judge nodded. So noted. I could have sat down then, but I did not. I turned fully to Madison and spoke loud enough for the room to hear. Thank you, I said, for the years we had. I wish they ended differently. Her jaw tightened. Whatever happens next, I mean that, I added. Even if I never understand why you left. She glanced at me briefly, but she did not speak. I nodded once, turned back to the judge, and said, that is all. The judge paused, then said something rare, almost respectful. You are dismissed. As I walked out, I did not feel lighter. I did not feel stronger, but I felt intact. And sometimes that is enough to build from. 3 days after the hearing, I was living out of my car. Not sleeping in it yet, but close. Every shirt I owned was folded in the back seat. My laptop bag had become a filing cabinet. I had been couch hopping. 2 nights at a buddy's place in Naperville. 1 awkward night on the floor of an ex-co-worker's home office. And I knew I was running out of places to park my pride. Then I got the message. Nicole Harlow. Hey, I heard about everything. If you need a place to crash, my couch is open. I'm in Joliet now. No pressure. Nicole was Madison's younger sister, 5 years younger. Always the quiet one at family dinners. The one who rolled her eyes when Madison took over every conversation. I remembered once, at Thanksgiving, she slid a note under the table that said, "You are the only reason these dinners are tolerable." Back then I just smiled and tucked it into my pocket. I never threw it away. I did not reply right away. It took almost an hour to type 2 words. Are you sure? She answered in 5 seconds. Absolutely. Nicole's apartment was above a floor shop on a quiet block, with a liquor store on one end and a dry cleaner that still had a sign from the 90s. The building was old but clean. The stairway was so narrow, I had to turn sideways to carry my duffel bag. She opened the door before I even knocked. Hey, she said, widening the door. You look like a man who is either heartbroken or recently mugged. I gave a half smile. Bit of both. The apartment was small, 2 rooms and a narrow kitchen, but it was warm. It smelled like cinnamon, and it had light. Her couch was already prepared. Soft blue blanket. A pillow waiting like she had planned it. I'm not gonna cry, I said, setting my bag down. But this feels like oxygen. She grinned and took a deep breath, like she was testing the air too. That pillow is yours indefinitely. The days fell into a routine. Mornings, I woke early and worked from her kitchen table. I pitched what was left of the company to anyone who would listen. The calls were short. The answers were shorter. Most emails went unread. So bounce back. I would stare at the screen, jaw tight, trying to ignore how the thing I built was slowly crumbling. Nicole floated in and out of the room, pouring coffee, humming while she got ready for work. She taught art at a local elementary school. Every afternoon, she came home smelling like glue and paint. Some nights we ate together. Cheap pasta, stir fry, whatever she could make from coupons and leftovers. The first week, I offered to help pay for groceries. She waved me off. You can pay me back when you are rich again, she said with a grin. I'm serious, I told her. I do not take charity. Her face softened. I'm not offering charity, she said gently. This is just life. People help each other sometimes. There was no pity in her eyes, only understanding. A week passed. Then 2. One night, she was rinsing dishes, and I was sitting at the table with a lukewarm beer. The words finally pushed up from my chest. Nicole, I know this is not your problem. And I know how weird this is, taking in your sister's ex-husband. She did not even look up. You are not Madison's ex to me. I frowned. Then who am I? She turned around, wiped her hands on a towel, and leaned against the sink. You are Brandon. The guy who showed up to every family barbecue, even when Madison did not want to go. The guy who helped me move out of my dorm at U of I when nobody else would. The guy who laughed at my terrible jokes and told me my ugly clay mugs had charm. I let out a quiet breath. I did not know what to say. I am just saying, she continued, voice softer. You're not here out of pity. You are here because I trust you. And because I'm glad you are here. That night, lying on her couch staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly, something hit me deeper than anything that happened in court. This was not the bottom. Nicole's apartment, her quiet kindness, the smell of cinnamon in the hallway. This was the first brick in something new. And maybe, just maybe, I still had something worth building. The first thing I noticed that October morning was the quiet. Not the heavy quiet I used to drown in. This quiet felt peaceful. It belonged to early coffee, open windows, and someone humming in the kitchen. Nicole was off-key always, but she did not care. I pushed the blanket aside and sat up. Except I was not sleeping on the couch anymore. That shift had happened months ago. Slow and natural. One night, I fell asleep next to her while we watched a movie, and we never went back to separate spaces. My things had drawers now. Her extra toothbrush was not extra anymore. And somehow, the company survived. It started with one small breakthrough. A mid-sized logistics client took a chance on my software. That deal became 2, then 6. And suddenly I was pitching again with something I had not felt in a long time. Confidence. That morning I opened my laptop and checked the numbers. 6 figures cleared. The first real profit. I stared at the screen like it might disappear if I blinked. From the kitchen, Nicole called out, "Is that the face of a man who finally does not have to eat instant noodles?" I laughed. That is the face of a man who might finally buy a table that is not from Craigslist. That night, I booked a rooftop dinner in the city. Small place. String lights above us. Heaters glowing like lanterns in the crisp fall air. Nicole wore a burgundy sweater dress, and those boots she always called her splurge regret, even though she never stopped wearing them. We ordered hot cider, shared flatbread, and just existed together, easy and close. At some point, I looked at her across the table. The amber light caught her face. The wind played with her hair, and I stopped mid-sentence. She raised an eyebrow. What? I need to say something. She tilted her head. Okay, I love you. It came out simple. No dramatic pause. No rehearsed lines. I love you, Nicole. Not because of what you did for me, but because of who you are. This life, whatever it is, I want it with you. Her lips parted, and for a second she just stared at me. Then her cheeks flushed, soft and deep, spreading like sunrise. I was wondering when you would say that, she whispered, smiling so wide it made my chest ache. Because I have been there for a while now. I reached across the table and took her hand. That is when my phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. It buzzed again. Nicole gave me a look. You can check it. I pulled it out and glanced at the screen. Madison, we need to talk urgently. For a second, I just stared at it. Then, still holding Nicole's hand, I typed back. Another time, I am on a date with your sister. And I hit send. Nicole raised an eyebrow. Was that? Yep. She grinned. About time she saw who stayed. I leaned back with cider in my hand, my heart steady. And for the first time in a long time, I felt whole. Before we move on, tap like if this story is landing for you. It was mid-afternoon on a Friday, the kind of slow office lull where emails barely come in and the building sounds like it is breathing. I stood by the conference room window watching downtown traffic crawl below like ants trapped in syrup. Nicole had sent me a photo an hour earlier. She was holding up one of those clay mugs I once called hideous. Your favorite cup survived the dishwasher. I take that as a good omen. I smiled at my phone like a man who did not know a storm was coming. The office door slammed open. I turned. There she was. Madison, hair messy from the wind. Face pale. Eyes red like she had not slept. She did not knock. She did not ask permission. She walked in like the room owed her silence. Brandon, she said, her voice cracking. I said nothing. I walked behind my desk and sat down calm and still. Then I gestured to the chair across from me the way you would for a client. Not the woman who packed a suitcase and erased our life without looking back. She sat, but barely. Like she was ready to run. I messed up, she whispered. Badly. Worse than you know. Still, I said nothing. She lifted her eyes to mine, and for the first time since the divorce hearing, I saw real fear there. Not anger. Not cold confidence. Just a woman who realized the floor had collapsed under her. It was Derek, she said. I did not react. No gasp. No surprise. Nothing. She blinked, waiting for something. We were already involved when things started falling apart at the company. She said quickly. I did not plan it. It just happened. And he told me you were lost in the business, Brandon. Obsessed. Blinded. My jaw tightened, but I stayed quiet. Madison took a shaky breath. He started talking about how maybe you were not the right person to lead anymore. How if he took control, he could save it. Said he could bring in better clients, clean it up. I was scared. I was tired. I believed him. She wiped her face with her sleeve. But he did not save it. He drained it. Quietly. He took leads and rerouted them to another firm he was consulting with on the side. He used me to get into your blind spot. I did not know at first, I swear. But when I found out, I was already too far in. I stood slowly and walked to the window, hands in my pockets, my back to her. I thought you should hear from me, she said, before it all comes out in court. Derek is getting sued by that other firm now. It is going to be public. You want to get ahead of it, I said finally. My voice was low, not angry, just finished. Madison swallowed. Brandon, I never meant to destroy you. I turned and met her eyes.